Yo YouTube, what is up? What is poppin'? It's your boy Kayle 1 vs 9. Back at it again with a fresh new video. Pork champ. Yeah, let's go. Woo! And I saw on Reddit someone made a level 1 Kayle tier list, you know, which champions he can beat. And I was fucking dog shit, so I thought I would make myself one, and that's what we're gonna do. We're only gonna do top lane champions, because mid lane you don't really 1v1 anyone except for like melee, so this is for top lane. I got some categories. We have don't even try, we have can work, doesn't mean it will work, we have skill matchup, we have win if enemy is bad, we have stack passive win, and we have always win. Okay, so these are the ones we have, from easy to really hard. We just go from A to Z. That's easier. Also leave a like if you enjoyed this video, and subscribe, because apparently like 53% that watch my videos are not subscribed. What the fuck? Subscribe, please. Alright. Aatrox. We have Aatrox. I think Aatrox is a champion you can beat level 1. I think it depends on the way he plays. If you do dodge his Qs, at least like 2 out of 3, then you can win. I think you shouldn't win if he spaces you correctly, so I would put him in win if enemy bad. Unless he's like really dog shit, you don't really beat him, okay? Akali is actually pretty easy level 1. They tend to play pretty passive, so however, if they want to fight you, you always win. Like, it's literally impossible to lose against Akali level 1, right? Obviously. Akshan. Akshan is a ranged champion, so obviously we don't beat Akshan unless he's like, I don't know, like disconnected, you know? He's a ranged champion. If he starts E, you can't really beat him. If he starts Q, you know, the only possible way of beating Akshan level 1 is if he just lets you walk into melee range, right? So unless he's like giga fucking dog, you don't really beat him, don't even try. Yeah, this is only for level 1, Mika. Next, we have Camille on the list. Camille is pretty interesting because it's definitely a matchup you can win. It depends on what runes she took. If she took Grasp and TP Ignite, then it's gonna be way harder than if she took Conqueror. So if she has Grasp and she started Q, I wouldn't fight her. So I always would see if she, you know, like has her Q up. If she has W and like Conqueror, then you can definitely beat her. I think it's a skill matchup, so it's definitely winnable, but it's not like a guaranteed win, you know. So I think it just comes down to what runes she has, what items she has. Yeah. Okay. Next, we have Cho'Gath. Cho'Gath is actually pretty easy. They tend to start with E and Grasp, so that's kind of hard, but I think Cho'Gath is like pretty easy champ. So I think as long as you have your passive stacked, you can just run him down, you know, if you have lethal tempo. And I mean, obviously we talk about having lethal tempo and E and like drone plate. So I think Cho'Gath is also one of the matchups you can just run down with once you have your stacked passive, you know, because the extra movement speed will also help in case he has like Q level 1. Next champion, Darius. Ooh, that's a good one. Darius is actually pretty interesting because if he starts with Q, you are almost guaranteed to win if you dodge his Q, his healing, right? If you stand inside of it and you don't get hit by the healing, then you definitely win. If he starts W, which most of Darius players will do, it's a bit harder because they tend to get 2 off. You don't beat him unless you have a passive stacked. So I think we can put Darius in both win with passive stacked and skill matchup. I think I put him skill matchup because I think it relies more on skill, you know, because I mean it takes skill to dodge Q. So I mean obviously if he has lethal tempo, then I wouldn't try to beat him. But you know, they tend to go Conqueror almost all the time anyway, so I think it's also a skill matchup. Dr. Mundo. Dr. Mundo is pretty weak level 1. He starts with Q almost always. So he doesn't really let you close. However, if he wants to, then I think it's the same with Cho'Gath. If you have your passive stacked, you can just run him down with E and lethal tempo. He becomes harder to play against the more levels he gets, so level 1 is definitely something you win. Old Mundo, Sett. Actually, I like the new Mundo more than I like the old one. I don't know about you guys. But yeah, next champ, we have Fiora. Ooh. Okay, so I hate level 1 Fiora. I think it's definitely winnable, but it depends on a few things. If she has PTA or Conqueror, then you can definitely win. If she has Grasp and D-Shield, then you will never ever win. It obviously it also depends on where her passive vitals are spawning. So if she gets like 3 lucky vitals in a row, then you won't really win. If you go actually D-shield and ignite into her, then you can win. I think it's also a skill matchup based on how good you are at dodging vitals, you know, like positioning and stuff. So I would also put her in the skill matchup list. Next, we have Gangplank. Ooh, Gangplank, pretty easy. Gangplank is pretty weak level 1 compared to Kayle. So if you have the chance to beat him, I think you can always just run him down. He only has Q and is passive. He can't really contest your auto attacks, so I think it's a matchup you will always win level 1 if you get the chance to fight him. Next up we have Garen. Guys, Garen, pretty simple. You always beat this guy, literally. You know, having stacked passive helps, but you can literally just stand there. If he starts Q, he has like 1 empowered auto. If he starts E, then he can't auto while doing his E, so no matter what he starts, as long as you go E with Doran's Plate, and you know, you don't even need Ignite, but Ignite will obviously help, then yeah, you can just run him down really, really easy matchup. Next up, we have Na. Ooh, Na is actually a disgusting champ. Again, it's a ranged champion, so I will just put him in don't even try. They tend to always go fleet footwork. He will just kite you to oblivion with Q slow. Not worth, don't even try. Yeah, just don't bother trying. Next up, we have Gragas. I mean, Gragas can work, but you know, Gragas has his E or Q, so it won't really let you go onto it. If he griefs it, sure, you can beat him, but the chances he will let you fight level 1 are really low, so I will just put him in can work, but doesn't mean it will work. Next up, we have, I mean, not anyone really plays Graves anymore, right? So you can still do Graves, I guess. Graves is interesting because Graves players tend to underestimate the strength of Kayle level 1. So if you ever fight against a Graves player, it's definitely winnable. So I will put him also in win if enemy is bad. If you see Graves ever like starting E and just like zoning you off, autoing you, just walk up and just speed the shit out of him. He only has 2 auto attacks every few seconds, so literally you can just run this guy down. Literally, it's not hard. Unless he, you know, like he just plays it safe. Next up, we have Gwen. Ooh, I haven't played much into Gwen this season, but Gwen is also a matchup that depends on what runes and what items she took. If she has Doran's Blade and like TP Ignite, I think it's definitely winnable. If you have Ignite, if you don't have Ignite and she has Ignite, I wouldn't really try. If she has Lethal Tempo. If she has D-Shield, I think it's... If you have Ignite, you win level 1. If you don't have Ignite, you don't win, okay? So if you have TP or Ghost, don't try. If you have Ignite, you will most likely win, unless she has D-Shield, Lethal Tempo with second win, then I wouldn't try killing her. So I will put her on to can work. Doesn't mean it will work. Actually, I put in skill matchup because it depends on you know, the way she plays it as well. But it's definitely winnable. Next up, we have the actually Heimerdinger. Okay, obviously Heimerdinger, guys. I think there's not much we have to argue about. Don't even try. He has his turrets. He's ranged. Don't even try. Next up, we have the Tentacle Lady, the Hentai Lady. Illaoi, actually pretty easy level 1. They tend to start W. They can start Q or E sometimes, but I think mostly they just start W. She doesn't really have much level 1 to contest with, so as long as you have a stacked passive, I think it's pretty easy to win. I wouldn't say it's always win, because it also depends on, you know, her tentacle spawns and if they hit you. I still think if you have like a stacked passive, you can just run her down, and it's pretty easy. I would put her either in here or in here. Next up, we have probably the most favorite matchup in top lane, which is Irelia. Irelia is also tricky. I think it's a win if enemy is bad. Because if Irelia tries to fight you without stacked passive, she's fucking griefing. If she gets her stacked passive up and she has lethal tempo, she will beat you. If she tries to fight you when you have Ignite and Lethal Tempo, then she will most likely lose. But if she has fully stacked passive and Ignite, then you will not really win. So I think it depends on if she understands that she needs a fully stacked passive. You know, there are like some things you can do, like hitting the wave early on and making sure that your minions don't die at the same time, so she can't get the stacks at the same time. Then you can definitely win. So I think I would put her also in stacked passive win. But it also depends based on how she plays. So, yeah, I would probably put her either here or here. Okay, next. We have Jax. I think Jax is pretty simple. Jax always starts with his E. Can't really beat him unless he's giga shit. So I will put him in can work. Doesn't mean it will work. You can definitely beat him if he fucks it up. But chances are quite low. So I wouldn't even bother trying in most scenarios. Unless you have Ignite and you're like Giga Chat. Can work, but probably won't work. Next up, we have Jayce. Jayce is a mix of melee and range champions. We'll put him in the same as Gragas and Jax. If he goes into hammer form and tries to fight you, you can definitely run him down with Lethal Tempo and E and Dawn's Blade. But if he has some brain cells, then he will just stay in ranged form and just promo poke you, and then you shouldn't try. If you see him go in like melee form, then you can definitely beat him. Next up, we have... We're not going over all these AD carries in top lane, because obviously you shouldn't try to fight them, right? Like if you play against like Kai'Sa, Kalista, Vayne, don't try. Karma top lane is quite a common thing these days. I wouldn't try either. She's ranged. She can just zone you really hard, you know. She has a lot of high base damage, so it's not even worth trying to fight her early on. Next up, we have Kennen. Guys, Kennen is ranged. Don't even try. Don't even try. I need this more than I thought. Yeah, see it of us. It's good. So thanks to the one guy on Reddit just making the absolute fucking worst post in human history. Next up, we have Klett. Klett is definitely a beatable champion if you have your stack passive up. It's all about dodging his Q. Make sure to always pop the like if he hits his Q, straight up pop the potion. Because if you pop the potion after he hit Q, then you know, once he grabs you onto him, then you will have healing reduction on you. So if you have stacked passive, you can definitely win level 1. I've done it multiple times. Kayn top lane. I've never played against any Kayn top lane player, but that shouldn't be any problem either, as long as you have lethal tempo. And I mean, you know, like the whole spreadsheet or like the whole list is based on having lethal tempo and like Dawn's Blade and Ignite or not, or you know, Ignite not necessary, but E and lethal tempo. Next up, we have, I mean, again, Lucian, also range champ, guys. You know, I think Lucian, I don't have to put them, don't try. AD carries, don't try. Malphite top. Malphites don't tend to level 1 all in you at all. If they do, you will definitely win. So I will put him in can work. Doesn't mean it will work. They usually just poke you with Q and combat. So, yeah, don't even try Lilia. I haven't played against Lilia much. You definitely win the level 1. If I had to say where I put Lilia, I would say I will put her in stacked passive win. You know, her Q does deal quite a bit of damage. But if you have your stacked passive, you can just, you know, if you can stick onto her, if you have like Ghost, and I definitely think you can beat the level 1. Next up, we have Maokai. Maokai, really easy, guys. You always win if he fights you. You know, he has his Q, so he will just, you know, knock you back most of the time. If he decides to fight you, you will always win. Easy champ. We have Mordekaiser. Ooh, interesting. I definitely think Mordekaiser is a winnable matchup if you have your stacked passive. It also depends on if you are able to dodge his Q and how fast Mordekaiser can stack his passive. And if he has Ignite. If Mordekaiser has Ignite, I would never ever try to fight him level 1. If he has TP, then you can definitely beat him level 1 with your stacked passive. It's not always guaranteed to win, but with stacked passive, your chances of beating him without him having Ignite are really, really high. That's really a permakite with Q speed. I mean, she has to stack it up, and that's why I said if you have Ghost and you can actually stick onto her, then it's definitely beatable. What's Kayle's passive? We're not gonna talk about Kayle's passive, okay? This is not part of the video. What is Kayle's passive? Okay. Good one, good one. Anyway, next up, we have Nasus. You will always win level 1 no matter what. Yeah, I mean, it's a cancer matchup regardless, right? Because he will just outscale you at level 6. But level 1, you will always win. Next up, on the list, we have Neeko. Guys, Neeko, range, top lane champ. Don't even try. Next, we have Olaf. Olaf is also interesting. I think it's a skill matchup. If he starts Q and you are able to dodge 2 out of his 3 Qs, you can win. If he hits every single Q, you will not win. So I'm not sure if I will put him in can work, doesn't mean it will work, or skill matchup. I think it's better here because chances are quite low. It's possible, but yeah. Next up, we have the Juicer Gigachat top lane, aka Ornn. Ornn level 1 is actually also quite interesting. You definitely win with stacked passive. If you actually just fight him level 1 without having stacked passive, he will just poke you down with Q and grasp, and then you don't win. So you definitely need a stacked passive to win. I wouldn't recommend trying to fight Ornn level 1. Because I realized going D-Shield into Ornn is way better, because you can just, survive. Next up, we have Pantheon. Ooh, interesting matchup. I think Pantheon is a skill matchup. It comes down if you can dodge his Qs, how you kite. If you have a stacked passive, if you ignite, I think you can always beat him level 1. But it also comes down on how he plays the matchup, if he gets autos off or like some poke Qs. But with stacked passive, you can definitely win. But I still think it's like a skill matchup. Because you have to dodge at least 1 Q if he has ignite, which he most likely will have. Next, we have Gwen top lane. Guys, I think Gwen is obvious. Gwen is a ranged champ. Don't even try. Tier list past 6. Maybe later. Today is only for the level 1. And next up on the list, we have... I mean, a lot of people play Rammus top right now. Thanks to Baus, FFS. Thanks to Simon. So, I will actually put him on always win. It doesn't really beat you. Stack passive will definitely help. But Rammus is quite weak level 1. Doesn't matter what thing he took first. So, as long as you have your lethal tempo and don't spite, you will always win. Next up on the list, we have Renekton. Ooh, interesting matchup. I think Renekton is definitely beatable level 1. However, I think it also depends on how he plays it. If he's smart and he uses his, he waits his spells to get them empowered with his what's it called, Fury, then you will most likely lose. It also depends if you start a Q or W, right? If he has PTA, Ignite, and he hits a Power W on you, you're most likely dead. That's why you should always go Bone Plating into Renekton. If he has Q, I think you can just run him down. So I think it's also really skill-based. Next up, we have the one and only champion, Rengar in the top lane. Rengar's actually quite easy. With stack passive, you win. They tend to always wait in bushes and just jump on you. If you have your passive stacked and he jumps on you, you can literally just run him down. I also like going Ignite into Rengar, so yeah, that's actually quite easy. Bone Plating also broken into Rengar, by the way. And next up, we have the cancer champ of top lane, aka Riven. Riven is, I think, also a skill matchup. I have some videos on my YouTube channel and some clips showing how I beat Riven level 1. It can also go the different way. I definitely think if you want to beat her, you need to stack passive. But it also depends on how you play it, If you dodge some Qs early on, if you space really well, then it's really easy to beat her. But if she hits like a full Q with every single order and Ignite, then you're gonna have a hard time winning. So I think it kind of depends on how you play the level 1, like dodging Q and having your stack passive and playing around, maybe bush as well. That will help. Rank Poppy, we go from A to R, and Poppy will be there at some point, so you just gotta be a bit more patient. Kayle, what's up? And next up on the list, we have Poppy. Exactly, yeah, look, Poppy. We have Poppy next. Poppy is actually pretty easy. I think you win with stack passive. If she usually goes for like Grasp, so she definitely has some poke, but it's actually quite a easy champion to beat. I don't necessarily think you need a stack passive. I think it will definitely help with you beating her. Yeah, Kayle, I said it earlier. that I just couldn't stand someone doing that list, so I was like, I have to do it. Next up on the list, we have Rumble. Ooh, Rumble is kind of annoying level 1. It's definitely beatable with stack passive. If he gets some poke Qs before you can all in him, then it's going to be hard. But I think with E, stack passive, easy peasy win. They tend to go Ignite, so they can be scared, but I think you kind of win this. Next up on the list, we have... Do people play Ryze top lane? I mean, Ryze is range, so don't even try, I guess. But yeah, I haven't played against a single Ryze this season, I think, so. Next up, we have Sejuani. Ooh, interesting. Actually, I think it's the same as like Renekton. As Fiora, I mean. They tend to go Grasp, and it's definitely winnable. But, you know, they always start with their W, I think. So, if she gets to get some nice autos off and she can use her Grasp multiple times, she always has Ignite, right? Or even if she has Q. It depends on if you can dodge her Q or W. If you don't, then it's going to be a bit hard, you know, because she will just out-trade you with Grasp and Ignite. I mean, they start something else, so yeah. It's definitely winnable, but it depends on if you can dodge her spell. Next up, we have Sett. Guys, Sett is super fucking strong level 1. I will put him in the same list as can work, doesn't mean it will work. I wouldn't try fighting him. If he, however, uses his spells before he all-ins you, then you can definitely win level 1. But if he has Q and Ignite and like Lethal Tempo, never ever try. If they start W or E with like Conqueror, yeah, you can win. But if they have Q with Lethal Tempo, then chances you win are quite low. And next up on the list, we have Shen. Shen is actually super fucking strong level 1. I will put him in can work, doesn't mean it will work as well. You know, like maybe you're lucky and he started like his dash or whatever, right? And you also have Ignite and he has like TP, then sure you can beat him. But if they have Grasp with Ignite and the start a Q, then I wouldn't even try. It can definitely work, but I wouldn't recommend trying it. The 20 top laners, I mean, I think they're like 58 top laners in total, so yeah. Next up, we have... I haven't played against a single Shaco top lane, so... I'm not gonna raid Shaco, I guess. Shyvana next. Depends on what items she starts, what runes she has. I think it's also a... Oh, you know what we can do? We can just pull all of them here, and then we just have it easier. I think Shyvana is, again, based on what runes she has. If she has, like, Lethal Tempo with, like, Ignite, you can lose. I think if you have stacked passive, you will most likely win. So I think it's also pretty easy level 1. And next up, we have Cinch on the list. Cinch, guys, easy as fuck. Always win. Always. Sion is also one of the easier matchups. It also depends on what runes he has. I think if you have stacked passive, you're most likely going to win like 95% of the times. Kench, actually really cancer. I would say it's can work. Doesn't mean it will work, you know, they usually go like Door and Shield and like Grasp, like Second Wind. They also have Ignite, so I wouldn't even bother trying. However, if you want to try, there's definitely a chance you can win with Ignite. But I wouldn't personally try to all-in Tahm Kench level 1. Next up, we have Teemo. I think Teemo's obvious, right? Don't even try. Trundle, I think, is also same as can work, doesn't mean it will work. Trundle level 1 is actually insane. If he has Lethal Tempo and Ignite, don't even try. If he has like Grasp and like Flash Ghost, yeah, go. But if you see them have Ignite and Lethal Tempo, don't try. You will not win. Because they're really, really strong. Next up, Tryndamere. I think Tryndamere is also the same as can work, doesn't mean it will work. It pretty much depends on how lucky he is with his crits, you know. If he doesn't crit, you will win. If he crits, you will lose. As easy as that. Skarner, pretty easy champ to beat level 1. I think you will put in win if enemy is bad. He shouldn't try to fight you ever. However, if he goes for it, then I will put him with stacked passive win. You know, he has his Q, his grasp. I think it's definitely, you know, you just out damage him. Next we have Udyr. Udyr level 1 is also actually quite easy, but once you have stacked passive, you pretty much win. I think it's not hard. Next up, Akali. Oh no, Urgot. You know, Urgot is ranged. I will put him in. Can work, doesn't mean it will work as well, because they shouldn't try to fight you. But I've had it multiple times happen that, you know, they tend to start E. They just dash in. And if you can dodge the dash, then you can just run him down with lethal tempo and E. So, yeah. It depends on, if you get hit by E, you will lose. If you can dodge his E, I mean like his pullback, then you lose. Next up we have Vladimir. Vladimir range champion. He will just kite you, poke you. Not worth trying. Volibear. Depends. I think it's a skill matchup. It depends on what runes he has, what ability he took level 1. You can definitely win. It depends, you know. If he has like lethal tempo and like ignite, and he started like W, or like it's like hard, but if he has TP flash, then yeah, sure, you can win. Actually, I will put it in can work, doesn't mean it will work, because I think it's definitely harder. Yeah. Next up we have Warwick. I mean, I think Warwick is pretty easy. Don't even try. He will always beat you. Warwick, you know, is insane level 1. They always go barrier level 1, so I wouldn't even bother trying to beat Warwick level 1. Actually, I'll put it in can work. Doesn't mean it will work. You know, they if he gets like a third shot or whatever, sure you can win, but with like lethal tempo and his like passive and barrier, chances you win are probably like 5%. So yeah, I will put him either in don't even try or can work. Next up we have Wukong. Wukong level 1 is also quite strong if he starts E. You know, he gets a lot of armor, so I will also say it's a skill matchup. If you can play around his cooldowns level 1, you know, let's say he used E on the wave and you just take the chance to ult in him, then yeah, it works. Or if he started Q, if he has ignite, I wouldn't try it, but I would go personally ignite into Wukong and yeah. Actually, I'll put him in win if enemy's bad. You shouldn't win, but if he's poo-poo, then you can definitely win. And next up we have the Wind brothers, Yone and Yasuo. I think both are skill matchups. You know, it's about dodging Qs early on. You have seen me so many times beat them level 1. You know, you have to dodge some stuff. Always go ignite into these champions. I think it's a skill matchup. It's definitely winnable. I've won it so many times, but it can also go the other way. So I think it's literally 50-50 skill matchup. Next up, we have the PDF champion, aka Yorick. Yorick level 1 is definitely beatable. So I will put him in stacked with passive. They don't tend to run ignite. So I think if you have stacked passive, you can just run him down if he tries to fight you. Next up, we have Zek. Zek is quite interesting. Zek becomes really hard at level 2 and level 3, but level 1 he's like pretty much useless. So you'll always win against him level 1, like always. Shaco. I haven't played against Shaco this season. But if he decides to randomly fight you, obviously you will win, because what does he have? Like a box 1E or like Q? Yeah, nothing. And K'Sante. I've only played like 2 or 3 games with K'Sante. You definitely win with stacked passive. I think it's a pretty easy matchup. But I just played... I need to play more games in order to say if you can always win. I definitely think it's really free if you have stacked passive. That's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the tier list. Let me know in the comment section below if you disagree or agree with something. I would love to hear you guys' opinion on that. And yeah, check out the Twitch live stream every day. You know the deal. Leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care. Say goodbye, guys. Say goodbye, YouTube. Bye, YouTube. Bye, YouTube. See you. Take care on Twitch.